Hello and welcome to Chatterbox Bearcats. I am your host, Hudson Klauke, joined again by Eric Lilly, midweek here to help you push through the midweek doldrums of the work week. We got a good show for you. We're talking Miami, Victory Bell, back to Cincinnati where it belongs. Corey Kiner, is he one of the best backs we've seen here at Cincinnati? We'll talk about some unlikely impact players that we've seen. Preview Houston, of course, and more UC Hoops talk on the horizon here today on Chatterbox Bearcats. All right, first and foremost, Eric, Miami, Victory Bell, like I said, is back where it belongs in Cincinnati. 27-16 victory. They like to keep it close like they always do. Had some mishaps, but overall thoughts, for me at least, all it took was a MAC road win, and I'm back. You know, my bar is low. Now I'm back. I'm excited for UC again. I think they have the potential. What are we thinking? What are the vibes like after the Miami Redhawks win?
First of all, it's great to talk to you after a win. This is the first time we've done it after a win, I believe. So let's get on a little streak here.
Sure is.
But I'm the same way. That's why I try not to go too high or too low after a win or a loss, just because, that next win, I'll be back anyways. Why do the roller coaster, But you're spot on. Just too close for comfort again. We got away with it, but it also felt like we killed them, at the same time. Like, it felt like if that Royer play stood, we would that's 7 right there. And you don't even know which play I'm talking about. Am I talking about the fumble or the 80-yard touchdown that got called back? So there's 14 right there. And with how Miami was playing, if you go up a couple scores, I think it might have been cruise control from there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the Royer thing killed me because it was such a highlight reel play. Again, right before the half, apparently it was kind of two fluky plays that happened. The laces out, laces in debacle. And then the Royer kind of pirouette into the end zone, fumbles it. It's still the worst rule in sports history, but I kind of get why they do it. It's like the one rule that doesn't favor the offense, so I get it. I don't like it to happen to my team, though. So I am very against that rule, at least for now, until it happens against one of our opponents. But yeah, I thought we controlled the football game without a couple of those big mistakes. I think this could have been a more lopsided win, but we're in Cincinnati. We like to keep it, close no matter what. You're always on your toes. Doesn't matter if you're up 3 scores, 1 score. It's going to be a tight game at the end. Sorsby, 21-34, 186 yards, 1 touchdown. Nothing special. He did what we needed to do. But that leads me to Corey Kiner. I said this in the preview show early and often. It's the Corey Kiner show. He did it again. Busted it. 40-yarder as well. So he had a little bit of explosiveness, but 21 carries, 126 yards. And this got us to thinking. If Corey Kiner, I know it's early in his UC career, right? He hasn't played too many games with us. But if he keeps up this type of impact, where is he going to rank on all-time UC running backs? Because he's been consistently getting over 100 almost every game that he plays so far, and he looks even better than he did last year, and he had a great year last year. But we've got so many good running backs here, even in recent history. Where do you think Kiner stacks up if he can keep this thing going?
Oh man, that run where he just trucked the all-MAC linebacker Salopek for the 40-yard run. Oh, that was great. And then you hear today that Gavin Gerhardt said they messed up. Like, he was supposed to be blocked, the linebacker that Kiner trucked. So that makes it even better. And then we make a field goal off of that run basically. So that's the game-winning field goal, I believe. I'm a 90s baby, so I'm not gonna go back too far with running backs, but to me, Isaiah Peed's the number one. That's my guy. Him and Marty Gilliard are like my 2 favorite, like, most electric Bearcats since I've been like a diehard Bearcat football fan. I'm not sure he can even be topped with how like the portal era is. He almost had 3,500 yards, 27 touchdowns, played 4 years. To me, if Corey has another big year, like, he had 1,000 last year, if he does like a 1,250, 1,300 or better than that, I think you could maybe make an argument for him at number 2. But you got to have a talk about, Jerome Ford and Michael Warren there, because Warren had a bunch of yards, and he was here 3 years too, but he almost had 3,000 yards. He also had a ton of touchdowns. He had more touchdowns than Pede. He had 34. So you got to have a
Isaiah
crazy
Pede
year
for
to get up
me.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's early. It's early for Kiner, like we said. But if he can keep this up and have another year like this, then it's like, all right, wait a minute, we might have to have a discussion. Yeah, Isaiah Pede, that back cut, that shift that he had, I was like, this guy's going to be Arian Foster in the league. I truly believed that. I think in the right situation, it could have happened. I know he kind of fizzled out at St. Louis and then had that terrible injury. But Isaiah Pede was awesome. Michael Warren, Jerome Ford, Mike Boone still in the league as well. We've had a lot of talent in the backfield, and hell, and that's not even talking Evan Pryor. I mean, we kind of glossed over that. He had another. I mean, keep giving this guy some touches, man, because he is an electric. I think he was like the 6th fastest guy from a top end speed perspective in college football on Saturday. So I love the thunder and lightning thing that we're starting to do here with him and Corey Kiner. And I think more of this to come. And like I said, Sorsby didn't have to be Superman to win this game. I know we're playing Miami, but as we've seen and as we talked about, the MAC is, don't shit on the MAC. They got some good teams, right? They've beaten some very good teams, and they continue to do so. Hell, was it Toledo that just stole one as well?
Yeah, they killed Mississippi State.
Yeah. Yeah, they beat. Yeah, you can't even call it stealing one. They just outright dominated the game. So I mean, they're out there beating SEC teams. So winning on the road is nothing to be sorry about. Get on the right track, beat an FBS opponent for the love of God. And yeah, so far so good. So victory bell back here. And apparently, we're possibly going to start playing Miami again, like every 3 years. I saw some discussion about. So I don't think this will be the last of the Redhawks and UC rivalry, quote unquote. But yeah, we'll take a win where we can, especially in this environment right now. But that leads me to some unlikely impact players, and that's meaning that the freshmen that we've seen get more snaps than I can really remember any UC football team playing freshmen. The one guy that stuck out to me, and just as a fan watching the game, Simeon, seemed like he was everywhere. Linebacker, freshman. I saw that he was the 8th highest ranking, Pro Football Focus impact player from a freshman standpoint in the country. We will take that. And I think this bodes well for recruiting as well. I know everyone's pissed off about the recruiting, and, we got these 3 stars. We just had the 4-star decommit. A lot of times our best players, especially at UC, end up being these 3-star guys, right? And I don't think these ranking, 247 rivals on 3, I don't think they really give a shit when a guy's a 3-star. They kind of just lump them in somewhere. If you're not in the 4 and 5 caliber, I don't know how much work they're really doing on the back end. But I've liked what I've seen so far from the freshmen. I'm sure you got a couple other guys you want to mention that had some high snap counts as well.
Yeah, they've got 1,000 3-stars. It's they wait till Georgia offers one, like they just did with one of ours, and when he decommits from here and goes to Georgia, he'll be a high 4-star. Like, they can't watch. I mean, I'm not even blaming them. They can't watch all those kids. Like, it's crazy. So it is a little annoying to see fans just rip every commit as we get them, because, like, we don't know if these guys are good at recruiting or not. Like, this program is built on 3-star recruits, probably 2-star recruits too. We don't have. I'm not sure a 4-star is even panned out here, So if we want to get where our fans think we should be, I think we got to keep doing what we're doing. Develop, recruit locally. That obviously needs a little work, but we got to get these 3-stars in. We got to play them. We got to develop them. We're going to lose a couple probably, but it's how you build a program. Now that we're in the P4, we're it's a different ball game now. So if we're wasting time trying to compete with recruits against Alabama, what are we doing here? Like, it's get your guys, develop them, get better, get more fans, raise money. It's going to take another decade, like we're still growing. So it's not a huge problem. We'll see if they can recruit. So far, it looks good, honestly, from my perspective. With Coleman, he's taken snaps away from Dingle already, and Dingle's like in his 4th year. Like you said, he had a real big tackle. Parker rushed the quarterback a couple times. He didn't even play versus Towson because he was hurt. And he played 34% of our snaps against Miami 2 weeks later. Sanks pretty consistently getting like almost half the snaps now as a true freshman. And he's just fitting in, But to me, Coleman and Parker kind of stood out last week, especially Parker on like obvious pass rush scenarios. I think we might even see him get his first sack this week against Houston. So, yeah, let's see what happens there.
Book it. No, I think you're spot on. I can't remember the last 4-star. Not that some of these guys haven't been, solid contributors, but when we see at least the fan base, we get a 4-star, everyone goes ballistic. Oh my God, this is going to be the next star here, the next Marty Gilliard. It hasn't worked out. I mean, we had Matt Prater, Brady Drogosh, the quarterback, who ended up flipping to linebacker, so clearly wasn't working out there. It's just impossible to tell how these kids are going to pan out. Obviously, if we had our pick of the litter, we'd prefer to get all 4 and 5 stars. I'm sure we would, but I just don't think that's going to be sustainable for where we're at right now. Again, I think it's going to depend how these players pan out. Our transfer portal has been awesome. I mean, look at the guys that we brought in. I think just a ton of impact guys. And sure, we'll take Ohio State's seconds. All right. Pryor, Royer, come on over. We'll get you on the field, okay? And I don't think that's necessarily a recipe, not to not compete at all. Because as we've seen that these guys can play, it just depends on the right situation. And I think a lot of guys end up coming to UC and kind of finding their niche. So I think we're fine from a recruiting perspective. I would like to see some more high caliber guys just from a recruiting perspective, but hey, what can we do? UC has been continually producing guys that are 2 and 3 stars. Some guys aren't even ranked, and they end up being frickin' studs. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if our recruiting guys are doing their job, right?
Yeah, and not to go on too big of a tangent, but QB 1, wide receiver 1, running back 1, tight end 1, Kandra, he's a guard, 1. All of those guys are from the portal the last 2 years. And they all look good. Obviously, we're not winning as many games as we'd wanted, and this is a new season. But you can't say that we didn't get guys in the portal. Honestly, our portal recruiting has been really good. I don't know how bad it would be if we missed on half of those guys.
Oh, we'd be in trouble. I think we'd be in massive trouble if we just went in. I mean, we like these freshmen, but hell, we got to win some ball games here, and for Satterfield's sake, we need all the help we can get. But you mentioned Kandra. We'll jump into previewing Houston. I did see Satterfield actually mentioned there might be some shuffling as far as the O-line is concerned. So something to watch out for. You might see some new faces, some new starters on the offensive line front. But we have Houston Saturday. Spread right now is UC minus 3.5. Opened at -6. So, I mean, depending on, maybe some sharps are throwing money on Houston. I don't know if I love that. The UC minus 3.5, I think we both know we're going to hammer that, guaranteed. We're going to keep riding this train until we're out of cash completely and lose our homes. I mean, that's just how it's going to go. But let's hope. Right now there's a lot on the line. I hate to put a must-win like back-to-back games. I thought Miami was a must-win. I think this Houston game is a must-win as well. Satterfield, first Big 12 win at Nip. It's a must. Nippert is not a place to continually lose games, and we've been doing that here in the recent history. Need a win. People forget this was our only Big 12 win last year, was at Houston. So let's keep this going. Let's beat Houston again. Houston's 1-2. Lost to Oklahoma by 4. I think Oklahoma's like 15th in the country. So, again, I don't think anyone thought it was going to be a cakewalk. But what are your thoughts on Houston? Do you like our chances here?
I do, and I think it is a must-win. You lost the Pitt game, so this is a must-win. You had your one mistake you can make, and now it's like we don't want to go down that basketball thing we did last year where every time people felt a little happiness, you lose the next game. We need more than that this year based on how last year went with football and just like general stuff. Like people aren't totally bought in. It's not exciting. It's like we got to win a couple, win a couple in a row, get people excited, sell the future, or else it's just going to be miserable till we get a new head coach. So this is a big one. It's the schedule aligns perfect. We cannot blow like the advantage we have here. Like we get to play the worst team in the conference at home to start the conference slate. Donovan Smith has been sacked 11 times, which is more than double. Or no, it's almost double Shador. Like he's getting sacked a ton. Their offense is horrible. This is a good time for maybe our defense to, maybe look decent. And hopefully we can score on Houston because Oklahoma couldn't. So let's see. The Cougars defense looks for real, but let's see.
Yeah, and it looks like in their first few games, they, like you mentioned, they struggled offensively. So hopefully our defense, I thought we held up pretty well against Miami. I think the total yards looks pretty bad, but it was kind of a bend, don't break, which I think might be the recipe for this defense moving forward. And yeah, if there's any time to put your imprint on a game in the Big 12, it's going to be against Houston. But, Donovan Smith, he's been around. I don't know if this is his fourth or fifth year, but he's a senior. He's played a lot of games, so I don't think we're going to be able to surprise him too much. Hopefully our defense can get after the quarterback. Maybe a big Dante Corleone game. Maybe he breaks out this game. I know he's still wearing the rust off, so maybe a big one for him. But yeah, I think this is a massive, just from a mindset standpoint for this team that, hey, we win games at Nippert, actually. Yeah, we're not supposed to lose every game. So I think this is huge for Satterfield, for the players, for the morale of the program. For guys like me and you, we need this. We need this win. Like I said, I like it, but this is going to be a battle, man. I mean, their defense is legit. Hopefully we can get Kiner going again. It looks like from their, the few games that they've played, they've been pretty good against the run. So hopefully we can create those holes for Kiner, and maybe Sorsby can air it out if they start bringing more guys in the box, things like that. So Houston, anything else with Houston before we move on to UC hoops?
Yeah, one quick thing. Gerhardt in his interview today mentioned that he faced Tulane that last game where Fickle lost at home, and their DC went to Houston with Fritz. So he's familiar. He says a couple of the guys are familiar with their 3-4 defense, which is, and he also said it's really similar to the defense we ran last year with Coach Brown. So I don't know. Maybe that's a little thing, something to watch. Like their defense is really good, it seems like, but I'm not totally buying it. Like some places I looked at, like Miami, Ohio's defense is rated higher. Houston has 13. They lost 13 of their 17 top producers on defense last year. Like it's just a whole new team. So I'm a little skeptical of how good they are, but I mean, again, we'll find out on Saturday. But this is another really big, take the lead, control the game, just like Miami. Don't throw it away like the Pitt game. Because Donovan Smith, I don't think he's throwing a team back into a game. Like let's control it and make it a good vibes at Nippert.
I love those rankings at the beginning of the year. They had Donovan well ahead of Sorsby, and I think you're insane if you think that. I don't even know why they thought that at the time. Donovan Smith is fine. He's okay. I think Sorsby's like a legitimate Big 12 quarterback. I really do. I think his ceiling is super high. I'm excited to see what he does. Again, he didn't have some outlandish game against Miami, but he didn't make the mistakes that we saw last year with Emory Jones. I think he lost us a lot of games just throwing the ball to the other team, fumbling, things like that. So let's prove that he's a better quarterback than Donovan Smith, so that guy that made the rankings can really eat shit. Anyway, on to UC hoops. We discussed the UC basketball update last week. Again, Wes does not sleep. He is always working. He is always recruiting. Now, this isn't an official commitment or anything like that, There was a crystal ball that was just thrown out there for Keyshawn Tillery, class of 2025, point guard, 6-foot freshman, point guard, ranked 53 on the big board, 247's big board. So a high-end 4-star recruit. I haven't seen a ton of tape on the guy. All I did really was look at his recruiting page, and my God, he's been offered by damn near every program in the country besides, your blue chip Kansas, Dukes, UNCs of the world. But apparently this was a pretty high end target. West really wanted him, has been, working with him for quite a while. And we did have 2 crystal balls essentially on 2 different recruiting sites. We know how the crystal balls go. We saw this movie before where we got the crystal ball, Isaiah Collier. I was, flipping a table, going nuts. I was parading in the streets, and then he committed to USC. So this is not a for sure thing, but I'm sure you did a little due diligence on Keyshawn Tillery. What were your thoughts when you saw that crystal ball come through?
Oh man, you got to check out his tape. He's fun. He's small. It's hard to tell in high school how tall they are from YouTube clips, but he's smaller, athletic. He kind of, again, we have Jizzle and Day Day right now. They're both Day Day especially is a little smaller, but he's athletic. He's strong. Jizzle's not huge, but he's athletic. He's strong. He kind of reminds me of like a mixture of both of them, but he did officially visit Kansas like not that long ago. So there are blue bloods sniffing around this guy. They just didn't pull the trigger, which isn't always a bad thing. Honestly, I think it's a good thing that we're getting the guys that they want or think about wanting. Kansas's backup plans are typically pretty good. So sometimes if you fight them, you're going to win a couple. But he's interesting because in June he was like almost 150. I think he was 135th in the country in June. He's one of the fastest risers in the country. Some people think he's even like borderline 5-star, but obviously he's ranked 53. So 24/7 doesn't have him that close, but there's some good programs that offered him and really want him. Virginia, Ohio State. It's just exciting, I love a fun point guard. We had so many guards the last 10 years that as much as I love Troy Copain and, Justin Jennifer, we didn't have any athletic guards. And now it just feels like we're getting these guys in every year. It's breakaway dunks, stuff like that.
Exciting. A mixture of Jizzle James and Day Thomas. I'm on board. And you're right. I actually pulled up. I didn't go all the way down because he narrowed it down for those listening. He narrowed it down to Cincinnati, Wake Forest, and Virginia. Those are the 3 schools that he's still got on his board. But you're right. He actually was. I lied. I said he wasn't off. It looks like he was actually offered by Kansas. So Kansas, Louisville, Ohio State, Syracuse, Villanova. I guess, Villanova's on the downturn right now, but hell, that's a massive program that wanted him. And you're right. I think the worst quote I ever heard Mick Cronin utter was when he would walk into a gym to recruit a kid, and he's like, I saw Bill Self, Tom Izzo, and Jay Wright, so I just walked the hell out of the gym right there. He didn't even put up a fight. It's like, what are we doing, dude? What's the point of doing this? You're not going to recruit anybody who's recruited by the best schools in the country. We've seen it time and time again, especially with NIL. You can get kids. But we've seen it time and time again where a guy, for whatever reason, doesn't want to go to Duke. He doesn't want to go to Kansas. He wants to go to UC, okay? It's not UC's a top 25 program all time, so let's act like it. So I'm on board, man. I hopefully we get
kind of lost his fire there.
He did.
Like when we left the Big East to go to the AAC, I think he kind of just started mailing it in with recruiting. So yeah, it's so refreshing to just even hear it or see the guys are going for it. I'd rather be hurt missing out on a big name than be just numb to it. Who's this 3-star? I've never heard of him. Trevor Moore, he's a great shooter.
Right. God, Trevor Moore came into the TBD tournament that I was at and had 9 threes, I think, against the Nasty Natty. I'm like, where the hell was that during your UC career? But I digress. It is nice to see, because at the end of the day, if you swing and miss, it's not like you get penalized. I mean, you could try for these kids, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. There's going to be plenty of guys, whether it be in the portal or still on the recruiting trail, that we can get. So sometimes shooting for the stars, man. You land on the moon, right? Is that the
Yep.
saying? I don't even know.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. All right. Well, we'll keep you updated on that. Do you have any idea? Did he make any firm? Because I just saw this today and I was going through it. Did he make any like deadline on when he's actually going to make a commitment, anything like that?
I don't know for sure. It sure seems like it's happening fast, though. Like honestly, it wouldn't even shock me if he popped this week, but it just seems like it's happening pretty fast. But because last week he had, I think a list of 8, then he cut it to 3 today, and we're starting to hear like some people say he might visit Ohio State, but they're not on his cut list, and so yeah, I think it's happening soon. A lot of guys start committing in the middle of September.
Yeah, and the social media game saw him following a couple UC guys. Tyler Betsy just randomly responded and said he's a Bearcat, so I'll believe him. He's on the team, so
Yeah,
we'll
I think
go with
there's a
that.
Connecticut,
Hopefully,
like
we
New
see
Hampshire
that soon.
connection there.
Yeah, there you go. You got to love that, dude. They probably played AAU together or something. Who knows? It's always hard to follow the social media game. You never know if it's real or not. But yeah, hopefully we see a Keyshawn Tillery. Hopefully we see a dancing Bearcat gif. I get so fired up when I see that shit. I need to see another one soon. Hopefully we do. And he announces that he's going to commit to UC. Lilly said it here first. It might happen this week. Okay. Anyway. That will do it today for Chatterbox Bearcats. As always, we will be doing a live show after the Houston game. Right after, it should be around 3:00 whenever the game ends. Me and Chuck will be back at the helm doing the live show. Follow us on Chatterbox Bearcats Instagram page. We'll be uploading a couple more clips there, as well as follow us on the Chatterbox Bearcats podcast app, whether it be Spotify or Apple, wherever you find podcasts. Give us a rating. We need them. We need them. Help the algorithm out, boys. But anyway, this was fun, man. Lilly, we will see you next week. And go Bearcats.
Go Cats.